Hi everyone, First 5 Meteorologist Melissa Meeder here on our Wednesday. It is 8:08 a.m. and a lot's going on today. We've got two more rounds, I should say, of rain and thunderstorm activity, some of which could be strong to severe. However, the next two rounds are going to come a little bit later in the day. That's going to be this evening and then into the overnight hours. Once we get to the evening overnight, there is a potential for some strong to severe storms. We've got a level 1 out of 5 risk highlighted mainly for wind, but also heavy rainfall across the area. Until we get to those rain and storm chances, though, it is going to be getting very hot. Feels like temperatures of 100 to 105 degrees will be possible for the day today. And honestly, the 90s will take a brief hiatus once we get to tomorrow, but really, after that, it's getting steamy. Let's take a look at radar right now to show you the first round that has come and went through the area. So right now, you are seeing the remnants of what came through this morning, mainly down towards our southeastern areas. You can see it moving through Clinton. It's fizzling out. If you woke up maybe around 4:30, between 4:30 and 5:30 this morning, you may have heard some heavy downpours, saw a little bit of lightning, heard some thunder moving through the metro. That was the first round that moved through pretty quickly. We had activity move through our northern areas, but rain and thunderstorm activity right now in our north is generally where activity is going to remain for the most part until we get to this evening. So for the metro, generally along and south of I-70, we should be pretty dry until we get to this evening. It's our northern areas that have the better chance throughout the rest of the day along the northern border to see rain and thunderstorms until we get to the evening and overnight. So a lot of lightning is being tracked with this kind of system moving through in our north from Mound City to St. Joseph to Camden. And then if we move a little bit towards the east, you can see not as much lightning there. However, towards Bethany, Pittonsburg, Gallatin, seeing some light to moderate rainfall, maybe some heavy downpours mixed in there as well. So that's what radar is looking like right now. A lot different than it looked earlier today. However, once we go through the remainder of the day, we've got more rain and storms that are on the way. So I kind of want to track that out first. We'll go through more of the kind of rain story first, and then we will discuss the heat and humidity, because today is going to be could be one of the hottest days of the year, if not the hottest. So let's take a look at that Storm Prediction Center outlook for today. I mentioned some strong to severe storms will be possible. We have a level 1 out of 5 risk that's highlighted across our area. Damaging winds is the primary threat. I mentioned heavy rainfall too. Now I think this is going to be in the evening into the early overnight hours to see that potential for some strong to severe storms. This morning's activity did not turn severe. However, there were some gusty winds associated with it between about 40 to 50 miles an hour. That was mainly the outflow boundary that was out ahead of the rain and thunderstorm activity. That outflow boundary actually formed those storms that developed right on top of the metro earlier this morning and then pushed down towards the southeast. So better chances for maybe a few strong to severe storms, level 1 out of 5 risk, so fairly low for this evening and into the overnight. I mentioned heavy rainfall because we could see a lot of rain here between now as well as the end of Thursday. So it looks like we just got a new update in here. As you can see, areas widespread of 1 to 2 inches will be possible. Isolated areas higher than 2 inches are also going to be possible as well. So heavy rain is going to be a possibility, and even some areas of localized flooding. The National Weather Service this morning had mentioned possibly watching the potential for a flood watch. So if that comes later in the day, that would be because of the heavy rainfall potential we've got as we go through the next kind of 24, 36 hours. So I showed you the radar. At this point, most of the rain and storm activity is to our north. Now I want to show you what future radar wants to do with this. Now we got to zoom a little bit forward. Or I guess I have it on the right time. Okay, so here we are at 10 a.m. So between about now and 10 over the next 2 hours, that rain and thunderstorm chance is mainly going to be confined to our northern areas. I think that is going to continue to be the case really as we go through the bulk of the day and into the afternoon. Do notice the cloud cover starts to push out of the area. If clouds do hang around like they are kind of right now, we're going to struggle to get to the mid-90s. However, we're expecting that cloud cover to break by the mid-morning, allowing for that heating of the air. We'll get to the heat and humidity in just a second. But I wanted to mention that too to show you, because I will show you a sky cam and you'll see that there's still clouds on there. And you may be wondering, how are we going to get that hot if the clouds are still here? So once we get to about 5, 6 o'clock this evening, we start to watch the potential along and north of I-70 is what it's looking like at this point, and has been for maybe the last 2 days or so, for some rain and storms to form. Spotty to scattered overall. Now this could be strong to severe. Then once we get to about midnight, we are watching a cold front that will drop through the area. That cold front is, of course, going to bring drastically cooler temperatures tomorrow, but it is going to have rain and storms riding along it. That will start to push in by midnight and through the overnight hours. So this is our most likely round of rain and storms. However, this particular model in this update showing it moving in a little bit later by a few hours. So here we are by the time we get to about 6, 7, 8 a.m. and it hasn't even pushed into the metro yet entirely. So this is mainly looking like now late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning. Here we are at 9, still rain and storms around, pushing out towards the southeast by about 1 o'clock. With that being said, we still expect there are going to be rain and thunderstorm activity around for your morning commute. So you probably will need that rain gear as you head out the door tomorrow morning, as well as allowing yourself a little bit of extra time just in case you do get encountered with a thunderstorm or even one that has heavy downpours in it. So that's the most likely round of rain and storms. It's going to be that overnight round. Once we get into the afternoon, what we are seeing is generally along and south of I-70 could have some more rain and storms starting to develop and track to the east. Once we get into later Thursday evening, that's when we start to see things dry out. So that's the latest for that rain and thunderstorm activity for that 2 rounds as of today. Of course, we could see more tomorrow afternoon. I am lumping tonight and into tomorrow morning's round kind of in the same one. But heavy rain is going to be possible. Small chance for some strong to severe storms in there as well. Now let's talk about our heat and humidity today. So right now, what are temperatures sitting at? Well, we're generally in the lower 70s at this point. It's 73 right now, mostly cloudy conditions. The clouds will continue to push out of the area. Wind is very light at this point, calm. I think that we are going to kind of hit the ground running when we talk about the temperatures, because once we see a little bit of that sunshine really start to kind of get into the area, break through the clouds, I think we are going to warm up quickly. So I think maybe in the upper 80s by noon, and then in the lower 90s, even around 93 by the time we get to about 2 p.m. So it's still looking very hot, looking very humid. Our high temperatures today will be as hot as 95 degrees. There is going to be a little bit of a range here. So it looks like being along and south of I-70, we are going to see those temperatures in the mid-90s. However, in places like Maryville and Bethany, mid to upper 80s, that would be due to the cloud cover, and that would be due to the rain chances basically throughout the peak heating of the afternoon. While most of us along and south of I-70 will be dry until we get to the evening. So 95 would put us as the hottest temperature so far this year, and then feels like temperatures of 100 to 105 degrees will be possible. So it will be very hot. It will be very humid. Now, I told you there's going to be that big change. We're going to go from 95 to 83 for the next 24 hours, or I should say between the high today to the high on Thursday. We will not feel, of course, as hot than once we get to tomorrow. It's by the time we get into Thursday afternoon, we're only feeling like the mid 80s. So our humidity levels really drop and become a little bit more comfortable. Thursday is going to be the refreshing day of what is not going to be a very refreshing 7-day forecast when we get there. Feels like temperatures are back into the lower 90s by Friday, and then in the triple digits Saturday and Sunday. And unfortunately, it looks like we're tracking that way for your Monday, your Tuesday, and your Wednesday as well. So here's a look at the 7-day forecast. Drastic change, over 10-degree drop between today and tomorrow. However, we'll feel even more than that because we could feel as hot as 105 degrees. So we're talking maybe even a 20-degree feels like drop. Once we get to Friday, temperatures start to warm back up yet again. It's once we get into Saturday and Sunday, we're around 93, 94, and I know you can't see it. Let's see if I can get myself off the screen here. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Let's see if I could just do, so you can see it. Hold on. Bear with me, everybody. It should be the next 5 days. Let me just push this ahead so you guys get a closer look. All right, let's see. We're going to start this Friday. I'm not done yet, Taylor. So here we go. There we go. We can see. We are going to have those temperatures rising from the upper 80s on Friday all the way up into the mid 90s on Tuesday. 96 will be your high temperature on Tuesday. So Monday, Tuesday, looking very hot. 96 would then put the hottest temperature so far this year on that 7-day forecast. So that's the latest update I have got for you. I hope everybody has, several ways to receive weather alerts and in the event that you need them today. Very low end risk, as I had mentioned. However, just want to make sure that you are being cautious as well as, just being updated with what's going on. Also, make sure you're staying cool in that heat and humidity. I hope everybody has a wonderful Wednesday afternoon and stays cool in this heat and enjoys tomorrow's brief cool down.